Hi guys, I'm Ryan Thomas. This is my vlog, Mr. Ryguy92. Daily I post videos about the UFC or mixed martial arts in general or the NFL. And today I'm going to be posting a NFL video. There's something that has been swimming around the news waves, so to speak, on ESPN, and it is the ranking system that Ron Jaworski, former NFL quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles and the Los Angeles Rams back in the 70s, he is doing a countdown of the top 32 best quarterbacks. And as the countdown has gone on, you start to see a shift in his opinion as far as who he thinks is going to be the better quarterback heading into the 2013 season. And there are a lot of people that disagree with his picks. Pardon me. Me being one of them. And I think that a lot of his picks are a little out of the ordinary. To give you guys a rundown, he hasn't revealed his number 3, number 2, or number 1 yet, but he has Joe Flacco ranked 4th, ahead of Matt Ryan and Drew Brees and Roethlisberger and Eli Manning, which I think that's a joke. I don't think Joe Flacco belongs in the top 5, maybe even top 7. But I actually don't even have him in my top 10, and that's what I'm alluding to here. This countdown is based off of what does Ron Jaworski believe, who does he believe is the best 32 quarterbacks heading into the 2013 season, based on how he thinks they will do this year. And that's what I'm basing mine off of. I think that the Ravens are going to have a really down season. I don't see them really doing a whole lot as far as offensively. They don't really have as many weapons. Trading away guys like Anquan Bolden and getting rid of half their defense pretty much, I don't see Baltimore doing as well. They might make the playoffs. I don't think they will actually, but they might. They're going to be a lot less of a team than they were last year, and because of that, I have Joe Flacco ranked 12th, not even in my top 10. And to go with I did my own ranking system. I did my top 10 quarterbacks heading into the 2013 season, and at number 10 I have Russell Wilson for the Seattle Seahawks. Many people could say, why would you have him there? He's only played 1 year. He might regress next season due to defenses figuring him out and stuff. But here's my reasoning, and it's very common sense. If just bear with me here. I believe that Russell Wilson is going to have a better season this year than he did last year even. I think Seattle is probably one of the top 2 teams in the NFC. You could make the argument for Seattle over San Francisco or vice versa. It's really 1A and 1B in the NFC this year for those top 2 spots necessarily. The Packers and the Saints are close to those teams. Detroit is still around, so the NFC is pretty wide open, but everybody knows the top 2 teams in the NFC are Seattle and San Fran. Atlanta as well. It's a really tight bunch, but I think Seattle is the best team in the NFC. I think that San Fran is the second best team, and because of that, I have Kaepernick ranked 11th, and I have Russell Wilson ranked 10th, Joe Flacco ranked 12th. Just for any of you guys that are wondering where I put Kaepernick, that's where I put him. And I think that Seattle is going to give Russell Wilson more opportunities offensively because of their defense. They have the best defense in the NFL. Richard Sherman is a lockdown corner. Justin Browner is a great corner. Great defensive line. So I really think that Seattle is going to be a good team this year. They might possibly win 12, 13 games. The running game is excellent. He's got a great running back in Marshawn Lynch, arguably a top 4 or 3 running back in the NFL. He was the second best running back in rushing yards compared to Adrian Peterson. And Adrian Peterson rushed for over 2,000 yards. So that's to say Lynch is no slouch in his own right. He ran for, I think, 1,400 or 1,500. But to go with my next pick, number 9, the number 1 overall pick from last year's draft is Andrew Luck. Was Andrew Luck, and that's my next quarterback, number 9 for Andrew Luck. And I could have him ranked higher here, but as the season wore on, I started to see some turnovers from him, and in certain situations. And the Baltimore Ravens game, even though they were the eventual Super Bowl champs, that game kind of stuck out to me. If he wants to progress as a quarterback, he's going to have to really buckle down against defenses similar to Baltimore's, and there are defenses very similar to Baltimore's. So I don't know what to expect out of him this year. I know that he's the best, rookie quarterback. Or I know that he was the number 1 overall quarterback taken in this year's draft. But there's one guy that was a rookie last year that I feel is just a tid better than him based on his skill set, and that is my number 8 pick, Robert Griffin III, RG3. Last year, he really took the league by storm as far as his running ability and his passing ability. He would probably be the first guy that I would want as a quarterback if I was looking for a guy that was young. I would take him over anyone because he offers 2 threats as far as the running game and the passing game. But the problem with RG3 last year was, as the year went on in that playoff game against Seattle, you have to manage him right. You can't run him 10 to 15 times a game like a running back. You run him about 5 to 8 times a game, and that's what makes a huge difference. And not necessarily how many times you run him, but when you run him specifically. That could make a world of a difference for RG3's career. It could prolong his career. Mike Shanahan took a lot of heat for doing just the opposite and not necessarily managing RG3 running the ball, and it's something Washington's going to have to focus on because last year they paid a price for it. RG3 tore his ACL in that playoff game against Seattle, and he's probably going to be ready by week 1. I've seen him in Adidas commercials and stuff that were filmed recently, and he's running and stuff. So there's some really great surgeons in the world today that have helped guys like RG3 and Kobe Bryant and Andrew Luck, or not Andrew Luck, Adrian Peterson. So that remains to be seen how RG3 is going to do, but I think Washington will be better. I think RG3 is going to be just as good, if not better, than he was last year. Number 7, I got a guy that's a veteran now, believe it or not. He was drafted in 2004 by the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that's Ben Roethlisberger. Ben has won 2 Super Bowls with the Steelers. He's been to 3. The only problem about Ben Roethlisberger is that he takes a lot of punishment. He holds onto the ball too long, and that's one of his strengths, too, is that he prolongs a play, but sometimes he pays a price for it, and Pittsburgh hasn't had that good of an offensive line since their last Super Bowl appearance. So where they go from here, I think Big Ben needs a bounce-back year. I could have Big Ben ranked 8th and RG3 ranked 7th, but Big Ben has shown more. He's been in the league longer, so that's one of the reasons why I picked him over RG3. I think that the Steelers will have a bounce-back year due to the fact that Baltimore is going to regress. Cincinnati will probably be the team that wins that division, and but Pittsburgh will be in the thick of things this year as far as that division goes. Number 6, I have Peyton's little brother Eli, the New York Giants quarterback. He has 2 Super Bowl victories, both against the Patriots, and he's got a really good wide receiving core. That's one of the main reasons why I picked him in the top 6, but he does make mistakes, more mistakes than his brother does. But last year there were a lot of games where he passed for yards upon yards upon yards. So it's going to be interesting what happens with the Giants this year. I'm not sure whether they will make the playoffs or not. The NFC East is wide open. No one knows necessarily what is going to happen as far as that division goes, but the Giants always seem to be in the thick of things as the year, comes to an end, they're like right there, and usually they just miss it, or they make it by a wide margin. Or they make it by a small margin. They miss by a small margin, or they make it by a small margin. That's usually the case with the New York Giants, and I think it shouldn't be this year. The Giants should win the division. Um, I think that the Redskins and the Giants are probably the two best teams in the NFC East. Dallas is Dallas, and Philly is going through a coaching change, so I'm not necessarily sure what is, what those Dallas and Philly are all about this year. So I'd bet on Washington or the Giants to win the division. Number 5 is Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan had a really good year last year, leading the team to the playoffs again. The Falcons were one of the best teams in the NFC, record-wise, going into the playoffs. And they finally won a playoff game against the Seattle Seahawks. So it's going to be very interesting to see what the Falcons do as far as performance-wise. The division is a tough one. They go up against New Orleans, Carolina, and Tampa Bay twice. So it's a mixed bag. You don't know what the Saints are going to be like. You don't know what Tampa is going to be like. You don't know what Carolina is going to be like. So it's a toughie, but Atlanta will win that division. They should, and if they don't, the Saints will, because the Saints beat them in the divisional games. And those games are always close because they have two great offenses. But I think Matt Ryan is definitely one of the top 5. I think he put himself in that conversation with his performance last year. It was on par to Brady's performance last year, which says a lot about his growth. And I just think that Atlanta has it's similar situation to Eli Manning. You could put Eli Manning 5 and Matt Ryan 6, but Matt Ryan doesn't throw nearly as many picks as Eli Manning does. So it's a toughie. It's about preference. I would prefer Matt Ryan. I'd rank him higher. I did rank him higher than Eli Manning for a reason. And that my reason is because Eli throws more turnovers. Atlanta might have a little bit of a better defense than the Giants do this year. I'm not necessarily sure about Atlanta's division. That's the tough part. I think the Giants' division is actually easier than Atlanta's. But Matt Ryan is better than Eli Manning as far as last year went. So number 4, the New England Patriots quarterback Tom Brady, 3-time Super Bowl champ, has been to 5 Super Bowls. So this year for Tom Brady, this offseason has not been kind to him. Not necessarily for reasons that are his fault. As far as losing Wes Welker and losing Aaron Hernandez, Rob Gronkowski has had 5 back surgeries, or 5 surgeries in general. I think 3 of them were back surgeries. I'm not necessarily sure, but it's going to be a very interesting year for the New England Patriots. They always seem to find themselves in the winning category, but I think this year they're a little bit vulnerable. But luckily they're in a division with Miami, the Jets, and Buffalo. So New England should probably still win the division unless Miami takes a big leap, which could happen, but I'm not really sure that it will. Bill Belichick always seems to have tricks up his sleeve as far as winning and putting his stamp on the team. And over the offseason they signed Tim Tebow, and I don't know how they're going to plan on using him, but that is going to be something to feast your eyes on when the season starts. But Brady is definitely still Brady, and he's going to put up numbers regardless of who he's throwing the ball to. And it's not like they don't have any wide receivers at all. They have Danny Amendola, who is the replacement to Wes Welker. And usually when guys leave the Patriots, other guys that are already on the team step up, like the Julian Edelmans of the world. So it's going to be very interesting to see what the Patriots do this year. They might win only like 10 games instead of 12, or they might only win like 9 games instead of like 11. So it's a fine line. Division-wise, these division games in the NFL are so important. And I think that New England should win the division. And because of that, because of Brady being able to improvise, his game planning, his smarts, his intelligence on the field, I rank him over Eli or Matt Ryan any day, no matter who he's throwing the ball to, no matter who is in front of him. The Patriots' offensive line is still one of the best in the NFL, so that's why I rank Brady number 4. Number 3 is Drew Brees. Pretty simple. Drew Brees has passed for 49 touchdowns or something like that in the last, or no, it's like 91 touchdowns in 2 years. I could easily have him number 1, but I think that New Orleans is, Brees and Rodgers are really close, and I think that Brees doesn't have as many weapons as Rodgers does. Proven, and well, they're not bad wide receivers, but Rodgers throws the ball more effectively. It seems like in certain situations he's more mobile than Brees is what I should say. Rodgers is more mobile than Brady, and that's why I rank Rodgers ahead of Brady, just based off of his dual skill set. I wouldn't say Rodgers is a scrambling quarterback by any means, but he's a guy that has Randall Cobb, Jordy Nelson, Jermichael Finley, Donald Driver might be coming back. Greg Jennings did go across town to Minnesota, or across division Minnesota. So I have Rodgers ranked ahead of Brees, and that's, Rodgers is my number 2. Brees is my number 3. Rodgers is my number 2. I'm running short on time, so I'm going to dedicate the last 3 minutes and a half to my number 1 quarterback, Peyton Manning. There is no doubt in my mind that Peyton Manning is going to have an amazing year this season. I think that the running back situation is a good situation. They drafted Monty Ball out of Wisconsin. He is a great running back, great college running back. Played really well throughout his college career at Wisconsin, so they made a solid move by picking him. Wes Welker, as I mentioned, left New England. Where did he go? He went to Detroit, or he went to Denver. So Denver is loaded with talent. Demaryius Thomas, Eric Decker, that's only on their offense. Their defense was one of the best in the NFL last year with Von Miller at linebacker leading the way. It is going to be a really good season for Denver. They did lose Elvis Dumervil to the Ravens, but it shouldn't be a problem. Shouldn't be a problem for Denver. Denver, and another thing about Denver, they're in the easiest division probably in the NFL besides the AFC East. Oakland, San Diego, they're terrible. Kansas City might be a little bit better due to the fact that they got Andy Reid, but they should have at least 4 wins off the bat, right there. So Denver could easily be the AFC representative in the Super Bowl, and with the year that Peyton had last year, with all this stuff, on his back about his neck and the neck surgery that he had, the Colts cutting him. Him missing that whole season because of the neck injury, the way he responded, that's what champions do. That's what great players do. It's not about how they perform. It's about how do they perform when their back's against the wall. How do they perform when everyone has every doubt that they'll do what they could do, what they used to do. And that's what it was with Peyton Manning. Everyone doubted him based on what he used to be able to do. They didn't think he could do it anymore. And boy, did he prove everybody wrong. He passed for almost 5,000 passing yards, almost 40 touchdowns. His picks were got to be at an all-time low for his career. And I think they were below 13 or 12. So definitely Peyton Manning is back. I think the Denver situation for him is better than the one in Indy. I think he could win more in Denver than he could in Indy. Besides the fact that Indy plays in a dome, Peyton seemed to be okay with the weather as far as the later the season went, the colder Denver, Colorado got. Peyton seemed to be all right with it. So there you have it. I got Russell Wilson 10, Andrew Luck number 9, RG3 number 8, Big Ben Roethlisberger number 7, Eli Manning number 6, Matt Ryan number 5, Tom Brady number 4, Drew Brees number 3, Aaron Rodgers number 2, and my number 1 quarterback is Peyton Manning for the 2013 season. That's my top 10. Thanks for watching, guys, and have a great day.